The following are based on true events, according to their authors. This is my mother's story of when I was an infant. My sisters were both 3 and 6, and she was still married to my father. My mother puts us to sleep one night and goes to bed as usual. My father was passed out drunk next to her. She wakes up a few hours later and gets the feeling she's being watched, and without making it obvious, she's awake and starts to scan the room. At the foot of the bed, she notices that there is a man crouched down on her side. She slowly reaches over under the covers and nudges my father. He doesn't budge. Her leg is sticking out of the blanket, and the man starts touching her feet, then her ankles. She starts pinching my dad as hard as she can, but still nothing. The man is moving up her leg, taking his time, since, hey, everyone's asleep. He reaches her knee. Pinch. He's running, his hand up her thigh. Pinch. He's almost to her lady bits, and finally, with mighty pinching and persistence, she wakes up my dad, and he says, "What are you doing?" The creeper gets up and runs. My mom hears a sliding door open. She gets up and checks on us girls, fearing he may have taken one of us. We're all there, so she shuts and locks the door and checks the front door, then goes back to bed. In the morning, she takes a look around the house, inside and out. Nothing has been moved or taken, but outside, on her bedroom windowsill, is a tobacco can. It's full of Vaseline. Apparently, this guy frequented my mom's window to watch her do what should be private. He never came back, at least not inside. In winter of 2008, I was a seasonal worker at a major book retailer in a large Canadian city on the west coast. I'm an Asian woman. I stand about 5'3". I'm 130 pounds and was 22 back then. Not particularly pretty, but possess an approachable resting face on a polite, friendly manner. You are surely shocked that I'm a creep magnet. The store opening shift was at 9 a.m. I usually worked as a cashier, but it was a slow day, so I was sent on the floor to shelve the history section. 10 minutes into my shift, a short and remarkable man walked up. He said to me, "Can you help me find the book that Changeling, the 2008 Angelina Jolie movie about an old-timey kidnapping, is based on?" I told him that while the book is based on a real kidnapping case, we do not carry such a book. He then told me, "Well, could you recommend some books about other kidnappings?" And I said, "I don't have any recommendations, but I can take you to the true crime section, and I'm sure you can find something there that interests you." On our way, he asked me a lot of questions about books and kidnappings and serial killers. Strange small talk, but my read was that he was a socially awkward crime buff, the kind of person who thinks someone paid to give you good customer service is someone who will be nice to you and share your interests in any other circumstance. I left him in true crimes, returned to history. At some point, the guy came back to where I was shelving. He showed me some books he wanted to buy, a small gruesome stack on kidnappings, serial killers, school shootings. Then he said, "My name is Travis." He stared at my name tag and said, "Nice to meet you, Sleepy Bee. Sleepy Bee. Sleepy Bee. Now I remember your name." Hairs on my neck on end. I excused myself and went back to work, cursing name tags. The person? Well, he disappeared. My parents were on their honeymoon to Key West. When they arrived at the hotel to check in, they were told that the room would be non-smoking. With my dad being a smoker, they requested a different room. They got their room switch and went to their room. As they got off the elevator, the smell of fresh paint was quite overwhelming. Down the hall, there was a painter with all necessary supplies laid out around him and was painting the wall. As my parents walked past him, they casually greeted him, and the painter had absolutely no acknowledgement of their presence. When they got to their room, the smell of paint was even worse in there. So bad it wasn't even bearable, so they decided to go to the front desk to change rooms. When they explained the situation to the attendant, he looked very confused and informed them that there wasn't a scheduled paint job on that floor for that day, but agreed to change their room. My parents go back to their floor to grab their luggage and the painter is completely gone. All supplies cleaned up and gone within 10 minutes, and the smell of paint was also gone. At this point, my parents were freaked out but didn't think much of it and go to their new room. The next morning, on their way to breakfast, they overhear a tour guide talking to a group. My parents turned in when the guide mentioned the floor that they were originally supposed to stay on. Apparently, a long time ago, there was a painter on that floor, painting, and fell down the elevator shaft to his death. Now, my parents don't normally believe in paranormal, but after an event like this, that they had no explanation for, it freaked them out a good bit. My friend's dad is an ex-Marine. He has been a paramedic, firefighter, and security guard, so there is practically nothing on earth that can frighten him. His family used to live in a very old house built in the 1800s. One day, my friend's dad was home alone waiting for the rest of the family to get back with dinner. Now, this man is probably the most honest man I have ever met. There would be no reason to lie about this. He was sitting on the couch downstairs when he says he heard footsteps coming from upstairs. He walks down the main hallway and looks up to their balcony and banister for the upstairs hallway. He then said that there was a shadowy figure that glided across the upstairs railing from one side to the other until it was completely out of view. Right after he saw that supposed apparition, he heard the loudest, most blood-curdling scream he ever heard in his life. Immediately after this scream, all the lights in the house went out and he found himself standing in the pitch black. He then ran out to the front porch and waited for the rest of the family to return. My friend said that when they got back, he remembers the horrified look on his father's face. He said he had never seen that look on him and has never seen it since. 2 weeks later, they were moved out of the house and moved closer to where I live, which is how we became friends. While this story still gives me the creeps, I can't be too upset because I got my best friend out of the ordeal.